my goodness, I am live. All right, so this is my first time, and I'm on my computer, so I'll definitely be maybe working on the next time, bringing this up a little bit. But I am live, just wanted to see who's wanted to be joining in. I am talking about how to start your own journal or planner business. So, if you do not know, my name is Leah. I am the owner of Fit for More store, and I create mindful stationery for inspired living. So, that includes stationery for whether it's productivity, whether it is for mindset purposes. I am also homeschooling, so I have homeschooling education. So, inspired living, whatever that means to you, all of our planners and journals are created specifically for that. And so I am talking about starting your own journal and planner business because especially on Instagram, it is the number one question that I get every day almost of people asking, like, how did you get started with your planner business? Where did you get your planners made? Things like that. Who's designing your planners? So, all questions related to that. So, I will be talking about pretty much that. And I did make notes. Um, I did make notes because I have an ebook. And so, my ebook, of course, is going to go in detail. This is going to be not as in depth as the ebook because one, it'll take a lot of time, and I plan on being on here maybe for 5 to 10 minutes, just seeing how it goes, being on live, and yeah, because I have some other stuff to get to do. But I did want to start utilizing YouTube Live. So let's see, moderation activity, just some notes over here from YouTube. So I did want to start utilizing YouTube Live. So if you're new here, please feel free to say hello. Welcome to you. And feel free to ask questions throughout if you have questions about this. And I've never used live stream before, so I have no idea if I will be able to save this, but hopefully it turns into a video on my channel. All right, so first things first, step one, if you want to be able to create journals, you basically really need to decide what you want to create, right? So are you saying I want to create a basic journal that's blank on the inside, that has lines, that has dots, that has grids, or do you want to create journals that have prompts or questions that individuals answer? There are two types of people. There are people who would love to start journaling, but a lot of times they'll say, I would love this journal, but I don't really know where to start. Or where they typically think of a journal is just like going in and just writing out their thoughts. But you, as the creator of a journal, can decide how that looks. Like you can have both, honestly, but you can have guided journals that kind of lead people down a path so they can get comfortable with journaling, which personally, I think for a person who doesn't journal but wants to, that's the perfect place to start. But then you can also offer journals that are blank for people to write their thoughts and feelings, but then it's more like a notebook for most people. And I feel like it's a little bit harder to just sell a completely blank journal just because it has a cute cover, because then you're competing with notebooks that are like $1 or two. And there are a lot of people in this world who are like, I would just rather just, spend $2 on, this blank journal than having something that has a cuter cover. So you either have to A, find your audience, B, create something that people want and need, or C, make it a blend of the two so you can serve the both audiences. So one, with basic journals, you really just you can do a lot of that with prints. You don't need a lot of design experience. You can use things like Canva, Creative Fabrica. You can buy illustrations from Etsy, things like that. So you don't need a lot of skill to create that type of journal, because technically for the most part, you're only going to be creating the cover, and then the inside will either be blank or have lines or dots. So you just need to find the images for the cover. And if you're super creative, you can do a lot. If you're not that creative, you can just buy them, put them on the cover. And then you can also, for the most part, in terms of actually creating it quickly, you can sell it on Amazon KDP. So you can just upload the PDF. So let's just say, for example, you put it in Canva, you can create the cover in Canva, decide whether you want blank lines, dots, or plain. You will download it to your device as a PDF, and then you will upload it to Amazon KDP, and they can go ahead and print it out for you. There's also other sites that you can use, like Lulu, Printify. There's lots of other places that you can find to print those, but really you just only need to worry about the cover. Now, if you're going to create a journal with prompts or questions, then you're going to need to be able to make up the questions. Now, what I don't suggest is that you go look at someone else's journals or planners and you're like, oh, I'm just going to copy theirs. You can use so many resources, excuse me, you can use so many resources to come up with your own questions. You can scour the internet for questions. You can use like social media, the questions that people are asking on there. You can now use AI to help you generate prompts. There's so many things to help you generate prompts now that you don't need to copy anyone else's. You can really make up your own. So you'll need to decide on a theme for that. And then you'll need to come up with about 45 or so questions and then narrow it down to your top. It just depends if you want to make a 30-day journal, something like that. So come up with more questions than what you need so you can narrow them down to kind of like the top ones. And then you still need to create your cover, but again, it can be done in Canva, and you can get the design again yourself, or you can have some help, and you can do it that way. So, what are the pros and cons to creating this journal and planner shop? So, the pro is that creating a journal is super simple and it's streamlined. Like it doesn't require, it's one of the businesses that does not require much overhead at all. It's literally just going to take your time and the cost of whatever the creation is for the cover. So Canva does have a free version. I pay for a pro version because I design most of my stuff in Canva. And if you're going to buy any types of logos or designs off other sites, you'll have to pay for that. But otherwise, it's relatively easy to start. It's no charge for you to upload your book to Amazon KDP to get started to making money. And you don't have to pay for marketing or anything like that if you go with Amazon. Now, if you go with another publisher like Lulu or Printify or something like that, you will most likely have to buy your books up front. And so you will need money for that. So the good news is that you have choices. You can decide like, hey, I don't have a ton of money, so I'm going to start with this Amazon KDP route. And then when you get enough money, you can start purchasing books to have on hand. And the books that you have on hand will be able to, you'll be able to sell and make a profit and put that profit back into your business. And some other things that are pros is that for the most part, you're going to make it one time and you get to sell it over and over and over again, which I love, versus having to continue to make creations over and over. The cons is that it is a crowded market. So, with large, medium, and small businesses selling journals, it's a crowded market. So, you're going to need to be able to stand out. You're going to need to be able to show up on social media. You're going to need to not be afraid to market your book and let people know that you have something to sell. Sometimes you're going to find it best to have both journals on hand because a lot of times if you do it with Amazon, they send everything pretty fast. But if you have them on hand, you'll also be able to ship out as well. But you also need to be able to buy them in bulk because people are not going to want to wait 7 and 10 days for anything unless it's pretty much custom. So if you ship them yourself and you get bulk inventory, unsold inventory is lost money. So you need to be able to recoup your money. So that is another con. Now, once you decide that, then it's the next thing to do is just go ahead and put your idea into motion. So once you figure out, okay, I'm going to sell this journal. So now it's time to get started, right? what I think should be last is like, you will need a place to sell it. So, but coming up with like a name for your business and a logo and all that, it literally can be last. I feel like when people start with that first, it deters them from finishing other things in the business. Like it's almost like a stop. So, um, with the crowded space, you're going to be able to create your journal. You need to be able to do your research to figure out what types of journals do I want to sell and what is the demand for these types of journals in the market. So from my research, most journals out there currently were plain journals and they were guided journals, but guided journals with like random questions. Some of those, like right now, I feel like self love is really popular. So it's been a lot of self love and gratitude journals out there, but a lot of them are asking the same questions. If you were to make a self love journal or a guided a gratitude journal, you could just make yours differently, offer more things. For example, in my gratitude journal, I started, I'm going to see if I have one up here, but in my gratitude journal, I wanted to be able to definitely offer questions and activities that were not in regular books. So, for example, I don't know why I don't have it with me, but one of my gratitude journals, one of the activities in there is like a it's like a jar for giving. So to document your giving and then being grateful for what you were able to give. And it could be, so there's one where it's like, it's intentional, right? You're intentional. And the other one is like random. What am I randomly putting out into the universe to bring good back to me? And what am I intentionally doing to care for other people? So that's one of the activities that's in the book, and it shows up as a weekly activity to remind you that instead of like just always asking for things, that you're supposed to be grateful, but then you also show your gratitude by putting things out into the world. So that's just one of them, and it's pretty unique. It's not in I haven't really seen it in any of the gratitude journals I've ever seen. It was just something that I thought of because it is a practice of mine, and I wanted to be able to share that with other people. And so you'll have to think about like, what do you want your own niche market to be by creating, if you create a special journal. And some other areas I have are business planners and journals, entrepreneur planners and journals, mental health planners and journals, teacher planners and journals, things like that, where you can get into a niche market and your items will be in higher demand. And so once you are able to create your specific product, your specific journal, then you can look to decide like what you're going to sell it for. And the range of blank journals I've seen anywhere from $7 to $20, and theme journals I've seen anywhere from $10 to $40. So it just depends on what you're going to put in your journal. I would say that the higher price ones have a little more activities in them. Sometimes they're colored instead of just black and white, things like that. Um, so you can decide. And then one thing that also helps you decide is once you actually make the journal and you upload it to get it printed, whatever publisher you use is going to tell you how much it costs to make the journal. So for example, Amazon might say, okay, it's going to cost us $8 to make this journal. So if it costs $8 for Amazon to make the journal and everything else, then you need to decide, well, how much do you want to make as a profit? And then you use that to help you set your price. Same thing if you have a Shopify, BigCommerce, WooCommerce, whatever store you're using, it's the same thing. And then um you'll have to promote your book, and this is probably going to be the end. I'll do a part 2 if there are any questions or things that happen on this video. Right now I'm live and there's no one here yet. So depending on the demand of like, yes, this was good, we want to hear more, I will post more videos. But the biggest thing is that you have to be able to promote your books. If you can't promote and you feel uncomfortable at the thought of selling, you might not be super good for this business unless you're good at convincing other people to sell for you, like by the way of getting affiliates or something like that to help you sell your books, or partnering with influencers and people who are not afraid to use their voice to speak to promote your product. The other thing is, like, even if it's on Amazon, Amazon is not just automatically going to promote your product. There's tons and tons of journals on Amazon. So you still have to promote it and put out the link. I do feel that people would be more comfortable though buying from a new seller off of Amazon than they would be if you had a shop of your own. But some other things that you can do to promote your book is list your business with Google Business, SEO. So you would make sure that when you're listing your products, you're using good SEO titles, SEO product descriptions, descriptions in your photos that you're uploading. You could write blog posts that are relative. So like I wrote like, three things to be grateful about. And of course, in that you can link your journal. So my gratitude journal, for example, and that's a way that you can get a blog post that's kind of out there. You can make YouTube videos, you can run ads, go to local events, um, get an online business directories, or use word of mouth. And so right now that is a good summary of chapters 1 and 2 of the ebook for how to start your own journal and planner business. And of course, if you know anything about me, I'm always going to have spaces where you can write out your thoughts or plan or create visions. And so there are writing pages in here for you to be able to start planning your vision. So the link is in the description box for how to start if you just want to go ahead and get the whole entire ebook right now and not wait. Otherwise, I will be on again with a part 2 again if I get more questions and comments in here, for you to be able to go step by step in trying to, well, not in trying to, go step by step in starting your own planner and journal business. Thank you so much. Again, I am Leah. I am the owner of Fit for More Store at fitformorestore.com, where we sell journals and ebooks and resources for mindful and inspired living. Hopefully you love this video. Please give us a big thumbs up, like and subscribe, and don't forget to share with someone else, because guess what? When you put value out into the world that's going to help somebody else, the universe will bring value back to you. So let's make goodness keep going round and round by doing our part with liking, sharing, and subscribing, and have a great day.